Hi, I'm Katie, founder of Flexible Working People, and today I'm really thrilled to be joined by Camilla Kemp, who is the CEO at M&C Saatchi, to talk about their plans to move to a more agile workplace culture. Hi Camilla, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Katie. Well, thanks for the chance to chat. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. So I think that over the last few months, businesses have been through some enormous challenges, and like every business, you've had to find yourselves moving your entire workplace to remote working. I'm just really interested to hear how you've adapted to this M&C Saatchi, were you set up for it, and maybe talk to us about some of the challenges that you faced.
Sure. It's been a mad few months, hasn't it, for everybody in the whole country? And
Yeah.
the move to having the whole business working remotely happened so fast. And in fact, we did a test day about a week before lockdown, thinking maybe we should just check that the tech works and people know how to connect. And as is a good thing of a test, things didn't work perfectly. So that then when we did all move, actually the tech did work brilliantly and people could connect and do all kinds of things that genuinely I don't think they'd realised was possible before. So that was a kind of easy bit in a way. I think this sort of stress and uncertainty and anxiety around COVID and clients and business has been really, really challenging. So in some ways, it's kind of brought us together as a company much more, because we've had a sort of, the common enemy of what's going on in the world to bring us together. So even though we haven't physically been together, we've felt more together, if you know what I mean, which has been great.
Yeah, so I think that other people would say the same, sort of the whole being in this together and how you cope and sort of how you get on, and everyone really wanting to support each other sort of comes to the forefront because everyone's in it together. So it's just it's just been a different world. So what surprised you about the move? What have you learned from it that maybe you didn't know before?
I think there'd always been an assumption that if you're a creative business, it's very hard to collaborate and it's hard to have a brainstorm and bat ideas around and get people to kind of contribute if you're not physically in the room. And that's been the massive shift, is actually our ability as a business to do what we do, to be creative, to work really well in teams and do it all with us in various places in our homes around the country. So I think there's just been a sort of established rule, or which now turns out not to be a rule, that you had to physically be together in order to collaborate. Having said that, we have recently opened the office back to start to see, if people want to come in, and particularly our more junior members of staff, or perhaps people who live on their own. And for their mental health, it's been really good for those people to be able to have the ability to come into the office and see people. And actually, I think what we've learned is that it does work really well to be able to work from home, but it also works really well to be able to collaborate. So we will absolutely be adopting a hybrid model going forwards, taking the best of both experiences so that we can stay connected as a culture, but we also are able to be super efficient.
I think that's really interesting because I think that you're absolutely right. One size doesn't fit all. And what I'm finding from people in the group is that some people need to be in that office for that collaboration and just have that connection with other people at work, and other people are quite comfortable working from home and being remote. So having that hybrid model works really well. So have you had conversations with your people? Have you asked them what they want? Is that how are you sort of planning moving forwards? How
Yeah,
involved have the teams been?
yeah, and I think what people think they want changes too, but we've just hot off the press this week done a survey with everybody, and it was amazing actually, because I hadn't expected how many people would want to continue to work flexibly for the foreseeable future. So we asked a specific question, which was around, once COVID is no longer a risk and people aren't concerned about getting on public transport to travel for health reasons and things, which is the major thing stopping people, I think, at the moment from coming into the office. What would you want your working week to look like? So how much of your time would you want to be working remotely versus in the office? And over 70% of our team have said they want to be able to work remotely for the majority of their time. which is incredible. So that means at least 3 of the 5 days in the working week to have the flexibility to work from wherever they want to be able to. Now, some people, probably about 10%, would love to work from home permanently all the time. And about another 10% are absolutely 5-day weekers. I want the routine of coming into a physical place that I know and seeing people. So of course you've got a real mixture, but I hadn't anticipated just how many people would want to do that hybrid and the combination, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and so interesting. And actually, I've just done a poll with my community and on LinkedIn, and I've had 7,000 responses. So people really are passionate about this right now. And the data that's come through matches yours entirely. So about 70% have said that they want to have a more home work balance. So it's 80-20 home office. About 30% have said 50-50, and under 10% have said they want to spend time in the office. So it's interesting because I've got a very flexible, friendly community. But for you to have almost entirely the same statistic shows that really there has been a massive shift.
Yeah, and it is completely enormous, because the idea of having a day or two working from home previously just didn't really happen. I mean, I did when I'd had my first child. I had Fridays that I'd work from home. And I think, if I'm really honest, I think some people thought, well, why? Why are you working from home? Why do you want to? Because it just wasn't part of our culture. Whereas I think now people have been really liberated by it. You know, whether if you've got family, you can see them, you can have breakfast with your kids in the morning. I mean, they're a pain as well, aren't they? But, you know, you can do that. And also people have said to me, it's just such a joy not having to commute. It's so amazing being able to just pop out for a run in the middle of the day when it suits me. So there's so many benefits to it for people to feel happier, in theory.
And I think also, sorry, but what you've said is that actually you've never done it before, and your industry is renowned for not being inflexible, if I can say that. And, you know, I know lots of people who have come out of the industry for different reasons because it hasn't offered them the flexibility that they necessarily need. And there's been like a massive resistance to it. So would you say that what we've just been through has transformed sort of the way that you think about how this could work for you as a business? And actually now moving forward, do you feel like your business can operate just as successfully and collaborate and communicate with your teams, having that hybrid culture?
I really hope so. So I think it's probably worth just being clear what we all mean by flexible working, because actually there are different types of flexibility. And for me, the flexibility is a combination of where you work. So obviously from home or in the office, or from when you're on holiday, or, you know, wherever you want to be, to what time of day you work and your sort of fixed hours, and then how often you work. So we also do have a minority of people, but a few people at the moment who work 3 days or 4 days of their sort of, you know, contracted times. But I think that we will want to have flexibility across all of those aspects. So actually I think the easy bit is, in a way, where you work, because we've proven through COVID that is a really significant change. We actually had a core hours policy before, you know, which we've had for about a year now, which protects the time in the middle of the day, saying between 10 and 4 is our sort of meetings, and we try and not have meetings either side. Actually, during COVID, it's been quite hard to do that, because to be flexible, we've had to allow people to do what they needed to do whenever they've needed to do, apart from anything else, to balance childcare and other things. But then I think the other important thing is having more people who don't work full time, and that's also exciting, I think, because if we offer more flexibility across all of those things, I know we will attract better people. We will be able to bring people into the business and keep them motivated, because they will, you know, want to work in a different way, and they'll feel really valued, hopefully, by us, because we're giving that flexibility.
Absolutely. So that was actually going to be my next question. I was going to say sort of about bringing new talent in, because I think that when you work in a culture and an organisation where it's full on, full time, long hours, which, you know, your industry is renowned for, particularly in the agency and advertising world, what will that mean to bringing in new talent? And are you open to sort of bringing in sort of a whole new demographic into your organisation? And what does that mean for you?
Well, I think it's really exciting, and I think there's so many people who would never have considered a career in advertising because, I don't know, they might think, well, I don't want to live in London, it's horrible in London, I don't want to move there. And now they don't have to physically be, or they could be one day a week, and that's actually possible, you know. But also I think that there are people who do have caring responsibilities or childcare, or they want to be able to do pick up and drop off and whatever it is. And for us to actually say, that's okay, we want you to come and work with us and work for us, but we know that you have a life as well, and that matters, that you can balance the two things. Although balance is a weird word, I'm not sure you ever really get balance, do you?
No.
But so I think it's really exciting, and in fact we've just launched an initiative called Open House, which is a free training program for 8 weeks, open to anybody, and it's completely designed to try and attract more people into the industry who might not have thought of it before, to tell them, you know, kind of lifting the mysterious curtain on what this weird thing is called advertising. And it's been so exciting. We've had loads of applicants with amazing stories of why they want to participate, and actually lots from your community, I think, who've signed up, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. So yes, so we've launched Open House into the community, and we've had a massive, there's lots of excitement about it. And as you said, people who have never thought that this was maybe an industry that they could go into and want to find out more. But also there's so many people who were in the industry who might have taken a career break, might have sort of started a family and all those sorts of things, who are now saying, I really want to get back in. So that's really, you know, that's really exciting to start bringing back people who have been in the industry, who maybe fell away due to other responsibilities, childcare, becoming a mum, all those sorts of things, and now they can come back in. So it's amazing, and you know, there's masses of excitement around it.
Yeah, well, in fact, one of the things we ask when people apply is, what is your reason for applying, and tell us about why you want to do it. And absolutely, we've got one lady who said, I've got 4 kids and juggling ad agency life and 4 children was just not possible, but actually they're a bit older now and I'd love to get back into it. And so this is a chance to sort of reconnect with something that she was hugely passionate about and really successful. And that's so exciting to me, that we can attract people who are actually already brilliant, already know an awful lot about the industry, and that they come back and choose us rather than our competitors. So that's really exciting.
And do you think that by introducing this flexible and agile workplace culture, people will, when they're making decisions about where they want to work, do you think that it's something that will attract more people to you as an organisation rather than some of your competitors?
Definitely. And actually, I think, more importantly, I think actually if we don't offer flexibility, we will lose out on talent. So yes, I hope it will mean that people want to work with us rather than somewhere else. But I think as it becomes more normal, if we weren't going to do this, then we would lose out on talent for sure. So yeah, it's a big driver for me in making sure that we get the very best people.
Amazing. Okay, so you've talked about being a mum and you've talked about having Fridays at home, but what does flexible working mean to you personally? How important is it to you? I mean, you're a senior person, obviously, in your organisation, but tell me what it means to you personally.
Well, I think I mentioned it actually. One of the things I've enjoyed about lockdown, although it's been pretty miserable in some ways as well, is that thing of getting up in the morning, having breakfast with the girls. They're 2 and 4, my 2, and just seeing them more, just having more time with my family. Even though I've been working probably harder than I've ever worked in my life, I've also probably seen my children more than I've ever seen them, which is quite amazing, really, that you can do that. So for me personally, it is about trying to stay connected to the family whilst also doing my job to the best that I can do it. And I do think there are quite a lot of things that we do in work where we need time to think or write or solve a problem, and actually you don't necessarily need to be in the office, don't need to see people to do that, and having a bit of space to think and get that kind of work done on your own is critical. So I think it'll make me better at my job, and it'll hopefully mean I'm a bit more connected to my kids. So it's in theory the best thing.
Amazing. So let's end with this. You know, I'm interested to hear what you're hearing in your industry, because you're more connected to it than me. Do you think that flexible working is going to be embraced by more agencies and businesses? Do you think that your industry is going to start making that shift, or do we still have some way to go on moving the needle on flexible working in your industry?
I think absolutely it will shift. I think it has to. I think so many things, sort of established behaviours, have been blown out of the water in the last few months. And I think any agency who doesn't evolve how they work more permanently will fall behind. So yeah, I think it will definitely change. I suppose one of the things I think we are going to need to figure out, and we're working on at the moment actually, is how to make sure that we can also have the things that people love about often coming into the industry is the people they work with. I genuinely love my team and I love to see them. And in fact, yesterday went into the office and there weren't loads of us there, it was only about 20. But it was the first time for quite a few people that they had been back in the office since March. And they were just so thrilled to see each other and so delighted to not be at their workstation at home or whatever. And we have a fantastic agency culture. And I think what I'm keen to try and ensure we do is that we can bring everybody together, whether they are working from home more or there's someone who prefers to be in the office, we can still all stay connected. And actually during the lockdown, we've had really regular all company Zoom calls to, initially it was actually daily, to sort of say what was happening because we were so much sort of fighting fires. And now it's a weekly thing that we do. But it isn't quite the same as connecting in person. So I think we will absolutely want to have a hybrid model where there are really good reasons for people to come together and be together physically, but also we respect that people will have different working patterns and want to work in different ways. So we've got to find a model, well, we've got to have flexibility within our flexible working plan. That's the sort of irony, isn't it?
Yes, that enables.
That's too rigid, it doesn't work either.
Exactly. Well, Camilla, I'm excited for you and for the changes that I'm hoping to see in the industry more generally and other industries. I think that, you know, COVID is not the thing that we would have hoped would have shifted the needle in flexible working. You know, it's been heartbreaking for many, but it has come and there is a shift and it has had an impact and it's moved this whole flexible working story. It's fast forwarded it, you know, tenfold. So I'm excited to see what you do. I'm excited to join the open house and to hear feedback on that and to follow your journey. And I know that you're just sort of at the start of this, and you've said that you want to make sure that, you know, you balance people in the office and develop this hybrid model. So I'm going to be following closely to see how this develops. So thank you so much for joining me today and having this chat. It's been brilliant.
Not at all. It's been great to see you, Casey. So thank you. And yeah, do help me on this journey.
I'm going to
start of it. So that would be great.
All right. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.